Episode 4,
So I was just
Soke
reading about,
and Cole discussing philosophy and martial science
A
principles.
student said to his master,
Enjoy.
"You teach me fighting, but you talk about peace. How do you reconcile the two?" The master replied, "It is better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war." I 100% agree with that. But do you want to explain that more of how martial arts, martial science ties in that way? Because of how we train, of the reason we train the way we do, and then being able to have that discipline about it.
So the way we train, we're combative. We're bone on bone, blood in your mouth. And when you train like that, when you're training for combat, not just the inevitability of combat, but you're training in combat, which is what we do, you can walk into a room and be a little more confident that if anything happens, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
So we're not worried about the battle. Yeah. Because if the battle is going to happen, say, give me an example. When I was 20, 21, I was at a party. And a lot of rough guys were at this party. And it was a rough neighborhood I was in and everything. And there was something in the air. And my gut was telling me something was going to kick off. But I still relaxed. I had a few beers. I was at this party enjoying the moment. I wasn't worried about what was coming across the room. I wasn't worried about what if. I just had a gut feeling the what if was going to happen.
Yeah. And at this point, you trained for, about 15 years?
At that point? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And keep in mind, too, by the age of 21, I'd already won 2 major tournaments that made me Canadian heavyweight champion.
Okay.
Right? And they were contact tournaments, too. And in those, it wasn't like an MMA fight. It was a tournament. So it was like a whole day, like 8 hours, of me being at a tournament. And once my division started, I was fighting, waiting, fighting, waiting, fighting, waiting. It wasn't a matter of, oh, you got to fight this weekend and then a fight next. No, it was 5 or 6 contact fights during the day. Right? So you can, with that confidence that our system builds and gives you, you can sit in the garden while the war is going on around you, and until it comes into the garden, you're not worried about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And if it comes into the garden, that's when you can react to it. But you can enjoy what's going on around you in your little space until you have to react.
Yeah. I would 100% agree with that, because I know even with work and stuff, is there still the likelihood that something could happen? I mean, absolutely. I had an issue with a knife last week that we had a call for, but we dealt with it. The guy left the property. Was I confident in that moment that I'd be able to deal with the situation? Not 100%, but I was definitely more confident than I would have been before I started training. there's still always that what if feeling of, if I get stabbed, it's going to hurt. But I know with the way that we train is I can handle that pain and I can manage and fight through that pain and deal with my issues and injuries later after the threat's been neutralized or de-escalated. But yeah, it's when we train Iron Body, it is full contact. And
Yep.
I love it.
See, and the guys that shy away from it, they don't get the benefit of it.
Yeah.
Right? They don't understand.
Yeah. We throw a punch at someone, it's going to hurt them. They throw a punch at us with the way that their training is. If it's not full contact, they're not going to know what it's like.
Keep in mind, too, you guys are taking punches from me, too.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And you guys
my arms went dead 1 week because...
But you're surviving.
Yeah.
Right? You're still breathing.
Absolutely.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, as terrible as it is, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
And I'll be the first to admit that when I do Iron Body, I'm not nice. It gives you no benefit for me to be nice.
Yeah.
Right? I don't get a workout. You don't get a workout. And I think...
even with that...
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go.
Oh, I was going to say, even with that, is the fact of, if you're going easy on us, how does that benefit us down the road? We don't know. Maybe there is someone that has similar strength to you at your maximum performance level. And because if that's the case and you haven't gone hard on us how you do, we may not be able to put up as much strength or endurance as we could if you went full on. Even
mentally, it's a different thing. It's a different monster when I'm standing in front of you.
Mm.
Getting ready to do Iron Body, it's a different feeling when I'm standing in front of you.
Yeah.
Than somebody else. And I know that.
Yeah.
But that would be a
but
tackle.
You also have how many years of training behind you now?
Yeah, a couple, right? 40.
Just a few decades.
43.
Nothing much.
43.
Yeah. Nothing much. Just a few decades.
Just a
Don't
couple.
worry about it.
Yeah. Two score in 5 years or something.
Yeah.
No, 2 score in 3 years.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So is a score considered 20 years?
Yeah.
Okay. I never actually got the term for that, so it makes sense now.
Yeah.
But, I don't know if you want to touch a bit on the situation that happened. Wouldn't be last week, but the week before.
With the white belt?
Yeah, with the white belt.
I was gonna mention that. So even you go back. Let's rewind for a second. So our Iron Body, right? Mentally, getting prepared for that to be hit. You know, you leave the class. Oh, now I know what it's like to be hit.
Yeah.
Right. Now, you saw me enraged. You saw me. Like, that had to have been mentally difficult for everybody, and I appreciate the fact that nobody left.
Mm-hmm.
But he had that coming, and it's not the first time I've had to do that. I had to do that to Sensei Ryan when he started. I'll let him tell the story if he wants to. I think I've only ever had to do that twice, and that was the second time. So this guy, his issue is he's a white belt. He trained before. He was almost a green belt when he quit. And I think he feels like he should be wearing a green belt.
But see, like, coming from another system into our system, the way that we train, and probably the way that he's been trained in the past, is extremely different. Like, it's complete night and day difference. Our gradings for what can be for other dojos might be a green or green or blue belt grading for them, but looking at ours, it's comparable to a basic as a white or going into yellow.
Yeah.
Like, there's a difference there in terms of our endurance, our requirements, like our system in general.
The expectations are higher.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't want to put a green belt on somebody that is only a green belt in another system.
Absolutely. We know. Sorry, go ahead.
I want my black belts to be. I want to be questioned. I want people to say, "How come he's not a third degree?" Well, because he's not ready. But anyway, so getting back to this guy, I don't know if he's going to stay after what happened. But when you hurt 3 people in one class, that they're giving you the benefit of the doubt because you're a white belt, so they're backing off, and you take advantage of that and hurt them.
Yeah.
Like, they're trying to teach you, and then you hurt them.
Yeah.
And it wasn't little injuries either. It wasn't like it was, I punched you in the face, or, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to kick you that hard. No, it was elbow to the nose and
ended up with a broken nose.
Yeah.
Someone ended up getting hit in the head.
Yep.
Headbutted in the head like that.
Yeah, the headbutt. That headbutt was, and the headbutt and the broken nose both happened on girls, which, I keep saying there's no difference, but there is.
Yep. Especially
a 14-year-old girl.
Yep.
You want to headbutt somebody, come over here and headbutt me. Please.
That'd be kind of funny to watch. Have you ever done Iron Body with your head?
And the thing is, he does stuff that I have not taught him.
He does, yes, and he does stuff that, you can correct me if I'm wrong in this because I don't know the whole system, but is a headbutt in our system?
Yeah.
Okay.
But he wasn't taught.
But it hasn't been taught to us. Exactly. Like, he's going outside of the scope of what he's learned.
And he stands in this kung fu stance when he spars.
Mm-hmm.
And you look ridiculous. Like, you're...
It actually threw me off the first week that I was there. When I was with him when we were doing drill. Just for not really seeing a difference in stances. But now that I'm kind of more used to it and stuff, it doesn't throw me off as much. But still, getting him back to the basics and learning our system, your system. Because you've adapted over the years and everything. But learning it how it's being taught, not going off of a whim of, this is what I would do.
Yeah.
Do what it is that we teach you to do. The reason why we're teaching it this way, a lot of times, is for safety.
Yeah.
So we don't have injuries down the road. We don't have a broken nose. We don't have someone leaving class because they have a headache from getting headbutted. We don't end up having people get punched in the face.
Well, see, and this is where I need to talk to the higher ranked belts and say, if ABC is happening, you need to put a stop to it. Like, if you're working with somebody lower and they're coming at you like a tornado, then you need to stop them in their tracks. Knock them down. Don't just let it happen to you.
They need to remember their rank of the years of training that we've had, that we've learned. That's why we are the belts that we are. Like, yes, I'm a green belt at the time, but still, I put in almost 4 years with you over the little bit, and then I know there's other students and such senseis and Chihan. They put in countless hours of honing, developing their skill.
Yeah, if you think you're going to hop into the ring with any one of those guys and pull the stuff you're pulling, try that. Yeah. Try it on a black belt. Don't try it on a yellow belt.
Yeah.
Don't try it on an orange belt. Try it on a black belt.
Yeah.
But he never does.
Yeah.
Right? And that was my biggest beef with it. You know? I don't know if you... were you there the night he was doing self-defenses with me and he tried to jump on my back?
No, I don't think I was.
Yeah.
He tried to jump onto your back.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Did any of the black belts kind of throw him to the ground?
Well, Shihan stepped... he moved pretty quick. Like, he was, like, there. But I already had him by the hair off of me. But, so what are you doing? Well, that's what I would do. Yeah. You would you? You'd be that disrespectful to me?
Yeah.
And he stopped and looked at me. You know?
Yeah.
So there's a difference between me saying go, do what you got to do, and me teaching you.
Yeah.
Because Taylor and I have worked together for a lot of years, and I have often said to Taylor, go. Let's see where it goes. And one night, it was one of those things where he was on my back trying to do a rear naked choke. And it didn't go anywhere, but he tried. That night with this other guy was not about going and seeing where it goes. I was teaching him technique.
Yeah.
And then he tried to climb on my back.
Yeah. And that, anyone listening to this, is the fact that just know, going into a dojo, whether it be ours or any other, that is completely disrespectful. It is the fact of more or less intending on killing or maiming the individual, and especially at your rank, Haji. That's completely and utterly disrespectful.
Well, here's the other thing too.
I apologize for that. I was just saying that I apologize for that. If I were there, he wouldn't have been the way that he was at all.
You know, and
I'm glad.
And I don't think they get either that most 8th degree black belts don't spend time on the floor teaching.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get in there and mix it up like I do, most of them.
Yeah.
So, for me to be out there and then one person to take it like, oh, it's like I can take this guy. Yeah. I very highly doubt that you could take me if I was asleep.
Yeah.
But you can try. You're entitled to try.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I've seen how many swords you have.
Couple. There's only one that counts.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's completely and utterly, that angers me. Knowing, like, hearing that now, because I didn't know about it before, but hearing it now, knowing that happens, like, even when we're in class, like, I'm always aware of where you are, where I'm standing. It is very awkward for me to even be standing, let's say, behind and to either side of you.
Yeah.
And for him to do that while you're teaching him is completely and utterly wrong.
Yeah, but you get it. You understand the etiquette.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
He's going to, because he's only working with guys from now on that outrank him.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe that's the thing, too, is like maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll make it a project if you would like, is I'll write out etiquette and everything that I've learned over the years, and then pass it along to others of higher rank, if you don't mind, just getting their input on it and being like, here, read this, these are the do's and don'ts.
Yeah,
if
you
there's
can
anything
take
we
that
need to add
project
to
on
it,
if you want.
Yeah, if there's anything we need to add to it, we will.
Yeah, if you want to take that project, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Well then. Yeah, if there's anything we need to change about it, but if you do any of these and they're a don't, you now know, and you know what the consequences can or will be. So, just laying it out for them.
To me, I thought it was pretty self-explanatory. Don't attack the head instructor, but
yep,
apparently not.
Yep.
What was your impression when I went off?
Oh, when you went off. I don't know if I was more scared just hearing you in an angry voice, or if I was more scared for him, because I was concerned that he was just going to get beat down. Like, more than just yelled at, but actually beat down. But I never want to see you that angry again.
Like I said, I think I've only had to do it twice, and working at the bars and stuff, I never got angry when I was fighting. It wasn't personal.
Yeah.
Right? It was just knuckleheads fighting.
Yeah. And you're doing your job.
Yeah. That was an attack on my space. That was an attack on the people that I'm taking care of.
Yeah.
That's why.
And going into it is, we have both a verbal and written contract with each other. We have the written contract if there's any injuries, but we have that verbal contract and verbal understanding between each other that, to the best of our abilities, we will not harm another student on purpose. If it's the fact that it's an accident, let's say I overextended the punch and it actually hurt more than it was intended to, do I apologize? No, unless it fully injures them, like the broken nose. Sure. At the time, maybe don't apologize, but afterwards, pull them aside, I didn't mean to break your nose. I apologize.
Or clarify, hey, that was an accident.
Yeah.
You could say, hey, that was an accident.
Yeah.
Just don't use the S word.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't use the S word. Let's go to the other word though for a second. Do you feel like he's using the S word less?
Say that again?
The other white belt, do you feel like he's using the S word less now?
The tall guy?
Yep.
Yeah, I actually I think he's doing really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was messaging with me today about Ramadan. Or was it yesterday? He didn't know I was involved in that whole scene.
Yeah. I honestly think if he sticks with it,
Oh, he's gonna be a monster.
Yeah, he'll be amazing.
He's gonna be one to watch. Yeah.
Yeah. Because even where he is right now with the endurance and adrenaline as a white belt, I really hope that sticks with him.
Yeah. Well, he ordered a headgear and gloves today, so
that's awesome.
Yeah.
He'll be one definitely to watch for tournaments.
Yep.
So, and hey, if we can get him in the security industry, that's even better. But
well, that's up to you. I'm done with security.
I know.
I'm so done. You have no idea. I don't even want to go to work this weekend.
Oh, hey, don't let them calling me, please. I have to work.
Oh, they're not. I got to start looking for a backup. I know you can't really do it, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Was there anything else you were thinking about for talking?
For what?
Was there anything else you were thinking about that you wanted to talk on?
Yeah, kind of, take me back to what your first impressions were. Maybe if you can remember, like, your first few classes.
So, where do I start? Do you mind if I talk into the bar and everything of how it kind of all started?
Yeah, go ahead. Just, I guess, because there's got to be some backstory how you got there, I guess.
Yeah, so anyway, I ended up getting my security license within the first couple of months. After that, I had started with a security company and then ended up working bar security. Rough bar, and I was completely unprepared for it.
No.
Didn't really know what I was getting into.
No, really?
Oh, it was bad. Yes, you can tell them the bottle story in a sec. Yeah, my first day there, kind of got hired through a third party and didn't actually get I didn't really get to talk to at the time Kiyoshi, now Hanji, as a security supervisor and finding out what the job actually is.
No.
So
you walked in the door and they put you to work, and I didn't know they were hiring you.
Yep. Completely in the blind. But yeah, my first day I was on a door, opening and closing it, because I didn't have any self-defense or any skills in that nature of really being able to defend myself. I didn't realize what kind of bar I was getting into.
And quite honestly, you really didn't know what security was.
No. I was completely green guard at the time, and it showed. It showed hardcore. Yeah, so Hanshi ended up taking me under his tutelage, and I had the honor of training with him. being able to learn under him. I ended up not really telling him about my ADHD until a few years down the road. There's another story behind that, but
that can be saved for another time.
Yeah, that'll be another time. My experience with learning and everything, it was great. Like, going into it, I was excited because in terms of any other martial arts, anything like that, the longest I ever took training for was a week, and it was a free class. And even then, I didn't remember anything.
Right.
So,
you don't say.
Yeah.
I almost thought you were a black belt.
Yeah. No. If I were, there'd be an issue and a big question mark of why I would be a black belt.
So the night you started, I came in, you were there, and I'm like, what's this? Oh, this is your new assistant. And this is the third party that you got hired by is the one that told me, and she had no authority over me. Mm-hmm. That was annoying. The fact that I didn't know you was annoying. The fact that I didn't train you was annoying. And it was one of the busiest nights of the week, and I had to start with a guy that didn't know what he was, and I didn't know you didn't even have your security license a year. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Which made it even worse. Because, and it's not your fault, it was the whole circumstance, because now, I'm not only do I got to watch the bartender, the waitresses, the bands, the kitchen staff, and with it being the crowd that it was, now I got to watch a newbie security guard and make sure he doesn't get his head kicked in.
Yep. Or stabbed.
And then, when I came in the back and you're like, where were you? And I'm like, well, I just got into a fight with 3 guys. And you were like, I could see your wheels spinning. And you're fine. Stay where you are. Don't move. Don't try and be a hero.
Yep.
Police don't need to be called. Just, continue to do what you're doing.
Yeah. And then my comment, why didn't you radio me?
Yeah.
Looking back at that is probably one of the most stupid comments that I've ever made. Pretty close to the stupidest comment.
Well, not really, because it was more of a... I think you were kind of feeling a little useless, too. Maybe. Right? Yeah. But, again, you didn't have the understanding of what was going on.
Right.
You tucked away in that corner was the safest place for you.
Yeah.
Because...
Okay.
So that fight, I think I only actually hit 2 people, and the third guy walked away. But let's say you'd have come outside when I'm in the middle of fighting these guys, and you'd have done something wrong, like grab me or touch me.
Yeah.
Right? So it was probably safer for you to be in the back.
Yeah.
All the way around, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I can keep an eye on the ATM.
There you go.
That was about it.
And look at you now.
Yeah,
now you're a supervisor of a big multi-million-dollar site.
Yeah.
Right?
And I love it. I love the fact that no day is the same. We may have very similar calls, but every situation is different. I love it. So,
Well, good.
and I can accredit a lot of my security knowledge and experience thanks to you.
Well, I'm happy to help.
Yeah, with the knowledge that you've been able to pass on from, is it 12, 13 years now that you've been doing security?
2010.
Okay.
So 12 years.
Okay. So your 12 years of experience being able to pass that on, like, that's a huge benefit to me. And I appreciate all the time that you've spent and helped me. I can run stuff by you. I don't have an issue. I know that I can run stuff by you. And you'll give it to me just straight up. And you'll give me the pros and cons of it. And things that I don't necessarily think of as the whole picture, you'll be able to bring into focus.
Yeah, because sometimes you do have a narrow scope, right?
Yeah.
Because you're looking at what's the best way. You don't even look at it from a budgetary. You look at it, okay, the best way to do security is A, B, and C, and that's it. And you're right. That is the best way. Very good. However,
money exists.
Everybody's going to fight you on the money. So let's find a way to do it. And there's no better camera than the human eye.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot that a camera doesn't tell you, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Yeah. But anyway, let's round that back to Dojo. So.
Yeah.
Where were we? So we talked about.
You got that white belt deal out of the way.
Yep. Do you want to go into tournament and stuff? Like for what's coming up with Dojo, if you've thought anything? Maybe
yeah, so, back 2010, 2011, 2012, we were doing 2 or 3 tournaments a month, plus training camps and everything. I don't want to get back into that. So when we go on the 7th to this big one, and I was talking today at the suppliers, and I had just missed Seagung Hackett by an hour. He was there. He's got over 200 pre-registration.
Wow.
Yeah. So we go, and I guarantee you there'll be flyers there for every dojo having a tournament at some point. So what we'll do is we'll pick a couple, and we'll try them out. We'll do maybe 2 a year.
Okay.
I don't want to get back into the whole tournament circuit. It's too expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing too, is like, I don't know the scope of how broad we're trying to do the podcast and stuff, but if anyone outside the dojo would be listening to this, is by all means take a class. If you like it, come back. It doesn't have to be an expensive experience to be able to get self-defense, to be able to learn martial arts. There's times where it can get expensive, but there's also times where it's just yourself, where you're learning in a group. It's an amazing experience. Yeah, like tournament gear isn't most expensive. It's, depending on your budget, it's not overly cheap, but it's not horribly expensive.
It's kind of right down the middle of the line. And if you do,
Yeah.
you do 2 tournaments a year. Because even when I started competing, when I was yellow belt and started competing, I was doing like 5 or 6 tournaments a year. Like it seemed like I was doing 1 a month, at least, sometimes 2 a month, and I was like, it was interrupting my regular training actually.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because you want to go into a tournament hard and hot, and you want to be ready, and you want to do the kata that's not in your belt rank. You want to do the one above. So it really did tax my regular training. Like it added a dynamic, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you got to back off our regular training to do tournament. Right? You got to go a little bit slower. You got to go a little less contact. You got to, so it really kind of gets in the way. And then maybe you're not learning enough to get graded. So then maybe you miss a grading because you've been to too many tournaments. Some systems, the more tournaments you win, the higher you go. Well, that's not the case with us.
Yeah.
Right.
Or even with that, maybe you're doing too many tournaments and then you're wearing yourself out. So you're not able to show up to class to be able to continue your training.
But you went to that tournament on the weekend, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I don't want to get into any politics anymore. Like I know you mentioned if I would ever do a mentorship for black belts that don't have an instructor. Well, that's called an organization, and I might offer that, right?
Yeah.
I did come up with a logo.
Okay.
So you got to get bylaws into place and whatnot.
Yeah.
But, what are the benefits to joining a federation when you're just a black belt? So you've got 10 students. Well, your benefits are you have people above you that will promote you when you're ready. You have people above you that have been through the shit and will teach you how to run a dojo if you don't know. You got people that will help you avoid the pitfalls, But it's got to be beneficial because the organizations I was in, it didn't benefit me at all. I was in 3 different organizations at any time, and none of them. I got to be quite honest with you. The only thing that got better was when I was with the World Fraternity of Martial Artists, and they're not around anymore. But our katas got better. Aside from that, the other 2 associations I was with, I learned nothing. I personally got nothing out of it. I did a lot more work. I put a lot of money in other people's pockets, but I personally got very little out of it. And if I were to start an organization that would support black belts that need it, I would have to make sure that they were getting something out of it.
Well, even with that is, let's look at it profitability-wise, so maybe you have, you have a lot of people signing up at the beginning, but then word gets out like, oh, no, like, there really isn't anything added, like, any added benefit to it. They're just an organization, but I really haven't learned anything from it. Like, you don't want that to be what people are hearing. You want them to be like, oh yeah, like, join this because it actually helps. Like, it will promote you. It will help further you in martial arts.
Yeah.
You want it to be able to be a reputable organization, reputable name. Have that, build that standard that you can say that you're part of this organization, and people, even maybe not internationally yet, but even within the country, will recognize that and recognize it to be credible. and actually have a backbone, and maybe look at people differently and be like, oh, like, okay, you're actually invested in this.
Yeah. Well, it takes time to build a reputation like that, right? Because people are skeptical because there's so much garbage out there, right? A lot of talk out one side of the face and a lot of money going into the left hand and not finding its way to the right hand. Well, he was talking today to Moby there, the suppliers, and he said there's one lady going to this tournament. She's taking like 60 students, and she wanted to kick back about $20 per student. Well, she's no, for this tournament.
Oh, okay.
Right? So she's stealing from her students. Her students are paying $60 to get in, and she wants to kick back her $20. So she's stealing from her students.
And do any of the students know that? Probably not.
I used to get kickbacks too, but I put that right back into the dojo. I'd throw a pizza party, or we'd stop and have dinner, and I'd pay for part of everybody's bill. I never kept it. Never. Not once did I keep a kickback.
Yeah.
And then the board of directors would, they'd ask me, so what do you do with the kickback money? We'd go into a savings account. No, I went and bought dinner. We had pizza. I paid for a couple of gradings. And it just, you can't do that. What if they hear it? What if our people hear that you're doing that? I guess you'll have to do the same thing.